I think one of the things that people struggle with is conceptualizing a billion. I think psychologically people are really bad at assessing the value of things. So how much money is $1 billion?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. So to put it into context, there's a movement of people who basically try and retire as early as possible, and they have some great blogs and sources and things. I think one's called Mr. Money Mustache or something like that. And basically, there's a rule that they live by, which is that if you take out roughly 4% of your savings, you should be able to maintain that ad infinitum. I.e., 4% is a relatively realistic rate of return that you can live off your assets saved, right? So let's just think about $1 billion for a second. If you have 1 billion saved or in some form of assets, and they're returning that kind of minimum, or you can liquidate that minimum of 4% a year, that actually equates to 40 million a year.
That's 40 million a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's over 100,000 a day, right? It's about 110,000 a day. So that's roughly 4 times the average salary that you're earning in interest per day, which, we can argue is an amount of money that's actually difficult to consume.
That's an interesting question. You say consume, right? Because I think it's easy to fall into the trap of saying, okay, 100,000 a day, I could find ways of spending that, buy some super yachts, whatever. But when you think about sort of consuming wealth, we're not talking about just buying a house, in which case you've converted cash to a different form of asset. You're talking about literally like, how do you run that wealth out? How do you sort of burn it? And that's a challenge. How would you spend $100,000 a day?
Exactly. I mean, so like you say, buying a house doesn't do it. Even to some extent, buying a car, that depreciates rather than appreciates, but you still own a car. I mean, you'd have to buy, even if you bought a first class ticket every day and ate caviar and whatever, like you would struggle to really get through that money every day. So that capital would just continue accruing at a rate that you couldn't even mitigate.
So the point here is that it's a lot of money. I do have a way that you could burn it though.
Yeah, go on, Jake. Tell me about it.
You start with $1 billion and you buy a football club.
Yeah, probably Charlton FC. They're a good acquisition target.
Yeah, that would do the job.